Welcome back to the EFA podcast. I'm Drew. I'm here with Mattias.
Hello.
This is our second attempt at recording this. Um, we're gonna do our 2021 NFL mock draft. Um, Pretty much what's gonna happen is I'm gonna do first pick. Mattias will do second pick. I'll do third, etc., etc. The NFL draft starts tomorrow at it's tomorrow through Saturday, so we'll get this underway and I will start. So, yeah. Um Jaguars, I really don't think it's going to be that like it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anyone. If it's not Trevor Lawrence, then we will have one of the most shocking drafts of all time, probably. Uh, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is clearly the best quarterback in the draft. Um, you know, he's been like this. He's been the number one pick since pretty much the end of last year's draft. So I really don't think there's going to be a question that it's going to be Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, like you said, he's been a lock there for a while. So, I mean, it just makes sense that the best QB goes number one overall. But second, I'm going to pick Zach Wilson. I just think, I mean, I think this is starting or well, I think it really has already become a lock for a while. I mean, if you're like 99% sure um, that Trevor Lawrence is going to get picked there, I mean, you're like 95% sure Zach Wilson will get picked with the Jets. I just think that, he's risen a lot off of a great season, and I think this is where he's going to go.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think this is like again. I think the first two picks are pretty much locked in. Um, for a while, at least in the season, you didn't know if it was like during the season you didn't know if it was going to be Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance. Um, but obviously, since the season ended, everyone's had pro days. It's been clear that Zach Wilson is going to be the number two pick, and again, I really don't think it's I if it is anyone else, it should be a shock to everyone. So yeah, but moving on, we have the third pick, and this one is gonna be this is the first decision like we actually have to make, and it's Mac Jones or Trey Lance. And I know in the last recording you said like you mentioned this is definitely a smokescreen, and I wouldn't doubt that it is. They could even take Justin Fields here just so no one has everyone's gonna think oh it's gonna be Mac Jones or Trey Lance. Well, it could not be either of them, and it could be Justin Fields. I do think it's going to be one of the two, whether it's Mac Jones or Trey Lance, and I know Kyle Shanahan is a very big Mac Jones guy, so I'm gonna take Mac Jones at 3 for San Francisco.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, if I was 49ers fan, I wouldn't like that pick, but I mean, as a Seahawks fan, I kind of like it, I guess. I just never think he'll be great. I think that Mac Jones, like, just for the modern day NFL, he doesn't have the physical ability to be, like, incredibly elite. I just don't think. But, yeah, at four, I'm going to pick Kyle Pitts. Um, we're not doing any trades, but I think if we could trade, I would probably want to trade down out of this pick. But I just think that if you stay up here, they're probably taking a QB or Kyle Pitts, and I mean, they have to pay Matt Ryan a lot over the next two seasons, so I'm just going with Kyle Pitts here. Um, but on draft night, I'd expect that they'd probably try and trade down.
Yeah, I would agree that this is a definite trade down spot, and I think Kyle Pitts has also kind of pretty much locked himself in again in a non-trade situation. I think he's pretty much locked himself in at 4. Um, I think one of the best tight ends we've seen in recent years, at least like coming out of the draft. Because he's small. He's a smaller tight end. He can play wide receiver. He runs like a receiver. He catches like a receiver. Um, but he is a tight end, and if they, I mean, we've heard the rumors that they're looking about the Falcons are looking at trading Julio Jones, which I mean, I don't know how accurate, like if that's actually going to happen. I mean, we'll find out within the next 3 4 days. But if even with Julio Jones still being there, I mean, you got Julio, Kyle Pitts, um, Calvin Ridley, like that, and Kyle Pitts is a huge step up from Hayden Hurst. But moving on to number 5 in the Bengals, I think this one is going to be either Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase, and in the first recording I had Jamar Chase here. I'm gonna say I'll switch it up to Penei Sewell. Um, I think he's one of the best. Uh, he's pretty much he's a generational prospect and one of the few we see in this draft class. So him pretty much the top 4 quarterbacks in Penei Sewell. But he's you're not gonna see another Penei Sewell type offensive tackle in the next 4 or 5 draft classes. So I think the Bengals, if they need to, they if they need to, they do need to step up their offensive line. I mean, Joe Burrow tore his ACL last year, and yeah, like you can't have, I mean, especially for Joe Burrow. He's young, and you can't have him ending his career early based on injuries. And I think they need to have Penei Sewell or just a very good offensive line. Not even very good. It just has to be decent. Um, because Joe Burrow he can work with anything. I would hope, like receiver wise. So I have Penei Sewell here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Jamar Chase might make the team better like immediately, but in the long run, I think that Penei Sewell will, keep Joe Burrow healthy and he's just a offensive tackle, left tackle in particular, is just much more difficult to replace than wide receiver. But for pick 6, since Jamar Chase is here, I think that the Dolphins would easily take him. I think wide receiver has definitely stood out as their biggest need lately.
Well,
And
can I say I don't know if you've already made the pick, but like in your thing.
yeah.
But I did. They prefer Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that changes anything, but
I I'm still gonna go with Jamar Chase.
all right.
I just think that I again, I mean, we're pretty late in the draft process. That could be a smoke screen. You never really know. I mean, the Lions are right behind him, and I don't know. I just think that Jamar Chase is I think he's definitely wide receiver 1 at this point. I think he's also a generational talent as well. I'd say I think he's one probably maybe the best wide receiver prospect like since Julio. I think he's that good, and I just think that I think they would regret picking Waddle over him, and so yeah, I think it's really just it should be a fairly easy pick.
Yeah, I know I've been a very big Jalen Waddle was my wide receiver 1 for a pretty long time, like in last off season, like through this season. Um, I think Jamar Chase is he's definitely jumped to wide receiver 1 now. Jalen Waddle is my wide receiver 2. Um, and speaking of Jalen Waddle, yes, I agree that Jamar Chase would probably be a better fit in Miami. But speaking of Jalen Waddle, I have him going to the Lions at 7. I think I have seen they are looking to trade up. Like if they can get, they look to trade up to 4 for Jamar Chase, but the Falcons were asking for too much. So they they stopped talking about that. So if they can get one of the top 3 guys, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith at 7, which I think is most likely going to happen. I think they take one of those guys, and Jalen Waddle's the highest receiver on my board right now, so I'm going to take Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good pick. I do like Devontae Smith's fit in Detroit, but I do generally like Waddle more.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I did say I think in I want to say it was the like one of the last episodes we've done like for playoffs. We did one of the questions we asked was where do you see Devonte Smith fitting the best? Consider like I think he had just won the Heisman. And I picked Detroit just because he's so similar to I want to say no he was so similar to both Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones, and since they're losing both of them, I mean you might as well draft another one. So I would agree that Devontae Smith would fit good here. I did pick Jalen Waddle because I think they're just gonna pick best available. So
yeah, and a lot of people are worrying about Smith's size, which I think,
I
you
think
know,
that's ridiculous too. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
he said it himself. Like they're not bodybuilders out there. Like they're there to play football, and he can definitely do that. So
yeah, yes. But for 8, I am going to pick Rashawn Slater. I I think that unless they just got Sam Darnold for insurance and they want to pick a different QB here, I think it's probably if either of the tackles fall here, they should snap, especially if it's Penei Sewell. But I I think that Rashawn Slater, this is still like a pretty decent value for him. Some people think he could go as far up as 5. So, but I just think that offensive tackle is a big need, and you want to give Sam Darnold a good because he just has 1 year left on his contract, right? So you want to give him a good chance to prove himself.
yeah, that would be like fourth option for me at 8. Like not so. First option for me would be Kyle Pitts if he makes it there. Second would be Penei Sewell. Then it's Patrick Surtain. Then it would be Rashawn Slater. So I would have picked Patrick Surtain here, just because I think offensive tackle, tight end, and corner are like their 3 biggest needs. And um, I think Kyle Pitts is definitely the best overall player out of all 3 of them. And the you're not going to get another Kyle Pitts. Tackle is such a deep position this year in the draft. Like you could get a decent guy in the second or third round, and then obviously they need corners, and I think Patrick Surtain would be the next. Although J.C. Horn is my corner one, Patrick Surtain I think fits better in Carolina. So, anyways, moving on. Denver at 9. Trey Lance, Justin Fields, both still here. I'm gonna take Justin Fields. Um, Obviously Ohio State, my QB2 currently. Um, if he makes it to 9, then I mean I don't think he will. I think someone's gonna trade up, whether it's New England, Washington, Chicago. Uh, I could even see Denver trading up into the top 5 to grab Justin Fields, Trey Lance, whoever. But I mean, this is definitely going to be Justin Fields or Trey Lance, and now like again, no trade situation. There's going to be a quarterback at 15 for New England. So I mean, like you don't necessarily need to trade up because Dallas doesn't need a quarterback. New York doesn't need a quarterback. Philly has said they are going to take a quarterback. I don't know. That could be smokescreen or something. Like they don't really need it because Jalen Hurts is he's a good quarterback. We saw that last year. LA doesn't need one. Minnesota doesn't need one. So I mean, Bill Belichick would be very excited if he doesn't have to trade up for a quarterback. That would be great. But yeah, I would say Justin Fields is probably. I would say he would go here at 9 over Trey Lance in a no trade situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Broncos have been linked to Fields a couple times.
Yeah,
I, I again, they're not gonna make it here. I don't think because you at least one or two teams is probably gonna hop up into the top 10 to try and get their chance at one of these top five guys. But yeah, I mean, in this case, since we can't do trades, they just fell. But at 10 for the Cowboys, I'm gonna pick J.C. Horn. Um, I've been mocking Patrick Surtain there for like the past couple months, so I'm just really mixing it up. I think this is going to be a corner as long as both of the top two corners are there, which I mean, they're as either of the top two corners are there, which I mean, at least one of them is definitely going to be there.
yeah, I would agree. J.C. Horn. I mean, I do like the fit for Patrick Surtain here more than J.C. Horn. They got Dallas Trayvon Diggs last year in the draft. So I mean, two Alabama guys at cornerback. I think that would be they would fit very well with each other. But now 11 for the Giants, and this is kind of a tough one. I mean, you got Micah Parsons, uh, Devonta Smith, Jalen Phillips has been here a couple times, and I think I'm gonna go Jalen Phillips. Yeah, I'm going to Jalen Phillips. The only thing for me is that he's had a very bad injury history. So I mean, again, we talked about it a lot. We talked about it. We talk about it all the time, really. But if he doesn't have that injury history that everyone is so worried about, he is most likely a top 10 prospect. So I'm gonna take Jalen Phillips at 11.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Jalen Phillips. I think that yeah, if you can look past the injuries and see his potential, that this is definitely a good range for him. But for 12, I think at this point it's a pretty easy pick. I'm gonna pick Devonte Smith. Um, I mean, it's if any of the top three receivers are there at 12, I think that the Eagles should bite. Um, and I mean, in this case, Devonte Smith fell, so might as well pick them. And I think this would be great value for them because I think he could help Jalen Hurts um, right off the bat, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I probably would have taken Patrick Surtain there, to be honest. Um, Actually, sorry, that's not what I meant. I would have taken Devonte Smith there. I'm gonna take Patrick Surtain here at 13. Um, yeah, I mean they lost. Who they lose? Was it Casey Hayward or am I? Yeah, I mean they lost Casey Hayward in free agency, so they do need cornerback to fill in for him and to play alongside Chris Harris. So I think Patrick Surtain, if he makes it this far, would be the pick here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think that, I think that corner is definitely a need for them. And I guess that they could probably get an offensive tackle deeper in the draft. But since you left him here for me, I am going to pick Christian Darrisaw here. I think that the Vikings, they need offensive line help, and you know I guess they might be preparing for the post Kirk Cousins era, or maybe they're satisfied with this play. I don't know, but I think that whatever it is, this spot should either be. I mean, maybe if Jalen Phillips is here, maybe you would consider him because they definitely do need an edge too. But I think for now, with him off the board, I think this is easily an offensive line spot, and Christian Darrisaw, in my opinion, is just the best available.
I would say yeah, I would agree with that. They have to boost up that offensive line. So I would say Christian Darrisaw. I mean, I love Elijah Vera Tucker here, so either of those guys I would be happy with as a Vikings fan. But I mean, he's made it this far. I'm gonna pick Trey Lance for the Patriots. I really don't think there's any um, argument there. Um, you know, they need a quarterback. Cam Newton did not cut it last year. I mean, they went out free agency, grabbed Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, like all those guys. Like maybe that'll help. But I mean, I think Trey Lance is a perfect guy too, because he's a guy that he might need to sit just because he played at North Dakota State, which isn't like the competition he gets is not a Trevor like not a competition that you'd see Trevor Lawrence playing against, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, like those guys. So I think he would be like especially to just sit back, um, sit back behind Cam Newton, whether it's for the year, if Cam actually decides to start playing like MVP Cam again, or even remotely close to that, um, and or whether it's 4 weeks and he's already in. But I mean, Hayden mentioned it. Hayden's mentioned it before, but Trey Lance runs like Cam Newton. Like he's not as big, but he runs like he is as big as Cam Newton, and I do like that. So I mean, Trey Lance is I would say is just a younger version of Cam Newton at this point. So
Yeah, I mean, I think this is not really. I don't think he's just gonna fall here. I
no,
think if any,
I don't think he's gonna fall here either.
yeah, I so like this is obviously you would take him without even thinking here. I think, but I mean, I think out of the top five, the only person that you really have a chance of falling this far is Mac Jones because I think that there could just be a bunch of smoke screens of people saying they love him because I mean he did he all of his momentum was gained pretty late, so kind of I don't know, but I think that at 16 he's fallen a little bit, but I think that if Micah Parsons were here, that the Cardinals should pick him. So that's the pick I'm gonna make. I for a while I feel like a lot of people have been set that they're just gonna take another I mean they're just gonna take a corner, but I think that they could get pretty good value in the second round. I think they have a second round pick. I think.
Yeah.
Uh with a corner and Michael Parsons fell here, and I think it's really just kind of best defensive player available, really.
Yeah, I really like Caleb Farley here. J.C. Horn I liked for a while before he jumped up my board. But Caleb Farley I do like here. I mean he tested positive for COVID earlier today, which I mean I really don't think is gonna hurt his draft stock at all. But I mean you never do know. But the Raiders, I'm gonna take Jamin Davis here. Jamin, I don't really know how that's pronounced, but I think that'll be. I mean the the Raiders linebackers aren't fantastic. Um, Corey Littleton is good. Jonathan Abram is he's just yeah. Jonathan Abrams is a safety, but he can play in the box similar to Jonathan uh holy Jamal Adams. I don't know why I just blanked on his name. Um uh yeah, I think he'd be good in that defense. I mean, that's pretty much their number one need is the Raiders is to just boost up that defense in the draft. I mean, they focused on the offense last year and now it's time to bring in the defense. So, I'm going to have Jamin Davis here, 17.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I think that the Dolphins need an edge. I mean, obviously, like the dream situation would be that Jalen Phillips is still here at 18, but I am gonna pick Aziz Ojulari, and I think that um, crap, I'm blanking on his name. Who is the Dolphins edge who played really well this year? Uh,
Is that Wilkins? Is that his name?
no, that's a defensive tackle, I think.
Oh.
Uh,
The
uh,
edge that played for Miami, you said?
yeah, yeah, there
Um,
was Miami edge who played very, very good this year. But yeah,
Raekwon
but
Davis?
no, crap. What? Okay, well, whatever. They have him, and this was kind of like his breakout year. I think that they need someone opposite him, especially in case he just falls off. So I think that edge is just a need for them, and on my board at least, Ojolari is the best available.
Yeah, I would say Ojulari is probably. Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, yeah, the only two edges you'd think like the Christian Wilkins and Raekwon Davis are their edges.
Yeah, maybe I'm.
You could be thinking of something completely different. Anyway, moving on. Washington. So there's talks that they might move up into the top 10, although the quarterback is not not
Emmanuel Og.
there. Manual.
Emmanuel Og. That's who I'm thinking of.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So the football team is looking. Looking to move up into the top 10. They said the quarterback is not going to be the target. If I mean, just I do have a question. If that is not if that is not a smokescreen and they're truly not going to take a quarterback, who would they take in the top 10 if they trade up? Who do you think?
Um, maybe maybe Penny Sewell. I guess they do need a left tackle.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would say Penei Sewell. I like I don't know. I would assume they're looking at like Detroit or Carolina, and I don't know if Penei Sewell falls to that. I would say yeah, it would be him. But if not, and they're at 7 or 8, I wouldn't like Micah Parsons would not be a bad pick there, either.
yeah, it wouldn't be a bad pick, but I'm not sure I would like. I I don't think I would give up that much to move up because there are some decent linebackers here. Like Koromoa's still here. I like his fit, and Xavin Collins. I mean, I honestly don't think they're that far behind Parsons when it comes to. I mean, I've even seen some people who prefer JOK to Parsons.
I am one of those people. Yes. Yeah.
So
Anyway, I just okay. So I have liked at 19 again. No, not trade non-trade scenario. I have liked Tevin Jenkins here, the offensive tackle from Oklahoma State. So that's who I'm gonna pick there. If they were to trade up, I would say a linebacker, like so I was like a linebacker. Whether if they trade up for a linebacker, I think it would have to be Micah Parsons, just because the media is so like whether NFL teams are high on him, but I know the media is so much higher on him than we are of there's so much the gap between him and Xavin Collins and JOK are so it's much larger than it is for us at least.
yeah,
So maybe like a Rashawn Slater at 8 would make sense.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
You're picking Tevin Jenkins here though?
Yes, I in a non-trade scenario, Washington's at 19. I am picking Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah, the only thing is I think they'd have to try him out at left tackle because I think that left tackle is where they really need someone.
Yeah.
And he's definitely more of a right tackle kind of guy, but yeah,
I mean,
but
who is their right tackle right now?
I'm not 100% sure. I just know that they need a left tackle more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
start the
just yeah.
Bears pick though. I think that I think that this is probably a wide receiver spot, and I don't know. The more and more I've seen this what guy, the more I like. Um, the more I like it, and I'm gonna pick Elijah Moore here. I think,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, he's just he's a he's a speed burner. Um, I think that he's probably my number four now. I think that him and Rashad Bateman are a good 4 and 5. And I think that I think that it would be a decent value pick here. I think that unless for some reason they have a QB that they really like here, or one of the better tackles falls here, I think that this is a wide receiver spot.
I'm not disagreeing with the position. I was disagreeing with the player. I think Rashad Bateman has been my fit here for a long time. Um, so yeah, I mean Elijah Moore again is still he's still good. I wouldn't mind this pick. I would prefer Rashad Bateman, especially because he's still on the board. Um, but here I'm going to take at 21. I'm going to take Greg Newsome. Um, I think cornerback was one of the few weak points in that Indy defense last year. So I mean, Greg Newsome is currently. Um, I'm going to be honest. I did not see Caleb Farley on the board, but I mean, Greg Newsome wouldn't be a bad pick here. So I would take. Yes, I mean, I yeah, Greg Newsome here.
Yeah, I think that this would be a good pick here. I honestly would not be surprised if a lot of teams have him over Farley. Now with Farley's injuries and getting COVID, which
Yeah.
we don't really know how that affects players that well yet. But at 22, I'm actually going to pick Xavin Collins. I think that I think um, this would just be a good place. I think this would be a good value for him. I think that it's definitely a need, maybe not their biggest, but I think if none of the wide receivers are there that they like, which maybe they like Bateman, I don't really know, but I think that Xavier Collins would be of good value.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Jets. They've already selected. They already took um Zach Wilson with the second pick. So quarterback is not really it's not a need here anymore. Um, Caleb Farley's fallen far enough. I think I'm gonna take Caleb Farley here. He I liked him. He was my corner one for a while, like during the season over Patrick Surtain. Um, so I shouldn't say during this. I should say like towards the end of like the postseason of the NFL. So like January, early February. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna take Caleb Farley here. I think he's still a good player. I mean, the injury history is concerning, but I mean, I think if teams can overlook that like they would for Jalen Phillips, I think he's not gonna be a bad player, and I think there are reports that he might fall out of the first round completely. So you never really know.
Yeah, I think that here for the Steelers, good pick Alex Leatherwood. Or wait, no. I completely forgot Vera Tucker was here. I haven't made the pick yet. I'm gonna do Vera Tucker. I think that it'd probably be preferable if he could play tackle for them. Uh, so yeah, I think that Vera Tucker would be. I mean, of great value here, obviously, because I mean, some people have him going like 10 spots earlier. So
Yeah, I do have him in the top 15, I believe. Um, yeah, I think he's if he's fallen this far, I mean, you might as well take him. I don't think he will fall this far in normal draft night. Here, could be Alex Leatherwood. But I think you take Trevor Lawrence with the first pick. You might as well take. You need a receiver. They got they got Marvin Jones, free agency. They have DJ Chark.
Shark, yeah,
Uh, I think Rashad Bateman will be another great jump ball guy, and I do like him. He's wide receiver 4, I believe. Yes, 4. So I mean, if he's fallen, he fell 5 spots for farther than I would normally have him falling. So I'm gonna take him here. Get another jump ball guy for Trevor Lawrence.
yeah, um, yeah. I'd agree with that pick. If he's fallen that far, I definitely think that'd be worth it. But at the Browns pick, I'm going to pick Quiddy Pay. I think that you know, really, people's the order people have the edges in seems to change around a lot. But I think that for a while he was number one on a lot of people's boards. But I just think they need that edge opposite Miles Garrett to really make that defense elite. And I think that once they have that defense settled, they can really contend for Super Bowls. But
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Quiddy Pay. Their edges are like their defensive line is already stacked with Jadeveon Clowney and Miles Garrett. So, Quiddy Pay would be just another piece to the puzzle, I guess you could say, of getting that, like you said, like Super Bowl contending team. This one is this is a tough one, the Ravens, because they traded Orlando Brown. Um, wait, it was Orlando Brown, right? Or my
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, well,
Orlando Brown. Um, yeah. So they traded Orlando Brown. So they have 2 picks in the first round now, and I think they need to address the wide receiver position at first of all, and I think they need to address something on the defense, whether it's an edge or a linebacker. Sorry, edge or a safety, not a linebacker. I'm gonna take Trayvon Moehrig here, just because there's no, like you look down, there's the next best wide receiver on the board for me would probably be like Terrace Marshall. Um, I'm gonna take Trayvon Moehrig here because
yeah.
again, you have 31 you can take. I don't think that Terrace Marshall or Kadarius Toney, guys like that, are gonna get taken in the next 3 picks. So I'm gonna take Trayvon Moehrig.
Yeah, I do think that Terrace Marshall is kind of the type of receiver they're looking for. I do think that he would be a good fit for them and that they might pick him just so. Because I think the Saints might have a little interest in him. But
I do like the Saint. Do like Terrace Marshall to the Saints as well.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm going to pick Terrace Marshall for the Saints. I just think that I've seen this vid a couple times. He kind of reminds me of Michael Thomas, a kind like a little bit,
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
he's definitely a little different, or quite a little bit different. But yeah, I think that he just kind of seems like a guy that Jameis Winston would like. Yeah, I think that'd be a good pick there.
Yeah, and my plan for the Ravens is kind of getting foiled here. Because I've seen a lot of actually, you know what? Just because I know what I want to do with the Ravens next, I'm gonna take Alex Leatherwood here, just because he's fallen this far.
For
Um,
for
for the
Packers,
Packers, yes, I think Green Bay, they need offensive line help for Aaron Rodgers. I think that is that would be a great step towards getting past the NFC Championship spot. So yeah, I'll take Alex Leatherwood. I've seen a lot of Kadarius Toney here, which is who I was going to take, but Alex Leatherwood is fallen. He's fallen far enough, so I'm gonna take Leatherwood there.
Yeah, I mean, opinions on Leatherwood seem to differ a lot, but yeah. For 30 for the Bills, I'm gonna pick Eric Stokes. I think that corner is probably their biggest need, and I think that Eric Stokes is the best corner available, and I think that he would fit in nicely, and their defense, I mean, their offense is there, and their defense just needs a little push, and then they're probably, um, I mean, they might already be a top three team in the NFL. It depends who you ask. Yeah, they'll be solidified though. I think if they get that number two corner.
Yeah, I mean, call me crazy, but I've seen a lot of running back here, and I would have taken Travis Etienne just because I know they've been linked to him a couple times. I think Najee Harris is still my RB1, but I think if we're going predictive and they were taking a running back, I think it would be Etienne. But so now that my Ravens plan is not foiled, I'm going to take Kadarius Toney here with the 31st pick in the draft. I'm going to take Kadarius Toney. Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, and the last pick, I think that the Buccaneers really you can take like a guy for because really their starting lineup is pretty set. I think that they could take a guy to develop for the future, and I think that that guy should be Walker Little. I think that he has so much potential, but like he also has a lot of bust potential because of injuries and
Walker Little out of Stanford, the offensive tackle.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, I think that you could look back on this and be like, wow, that was one of the best picks of all time, or one of the worst picks of all time, because it really just he's really gonna go either way. I think because yeah.
Well, that's an interesting one. I've never seen that before.
Well, I have.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, just to kind of wrap it up, got the Jaguars taking Trevor Lawrence, just taking Zach Wilson. Those are the two obvious ones. Our first mix-up was kind of Mac Jones going to the 49ers. Look down here. I mean, Rashawn Slater went to the Panthers. That was another. We had Justin Fields falling all the way down to Denver at 9. J.C. Horn over Patrick Surtain at 10 to Dallas. Um, we got Jalen Phillips over New York at New York to the Giants. That one could have been Devontae Smith, J.C. Horn, or sorry, Patrick Surtain. We speaking of Patrick Surtain, we had him at 13 to the Chargers. We had Trey Lance falling all the way down to New England. Micah Parsons fell to Arizona. Uh, Elijah Moore over Rashad Bateman at 20. Um, Caleb Farley fell to 23 to the Jets. Elijah Vera Tucker fell to 24. Rashad Bateman fell to 25 to Jacksonville. Get Trevor Lawrence another jump ball receiver. Uh, and then really, I mean, the last real surprise was Walker Little to the Buccaneers. So with that, we're looking at around we're around the 45-minute mark. I mean, if you have anything else you would like to say, or
I
like
think
just talk
I'll.
about anything draft wise.
Uh, I can't think of anything.
All right. Well, that was our 2021 NFL mock draft. Hopefully we have the next 4 weeks planned out for episodes and everything. I'm hoping we can get um, a draft review next week, a off-season review, like a complete off-season review the week after. Then at that point, hopefully the schedule has been released so we can do our NFL predictions, and then after that we can do more predictions with like awards and stuff like that. So, with that being said, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you guys next week.